Oh, dear Lord. You made many, many poor people. I realize, of course, it's no shame to be poor, but it's no great honor either. So, what would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune? If I were a rich man, yabba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dum. All day long, I biddy-biddy-bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Yabba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dum. If I were a bitty rich, idle, diddle, diddle, diddle man, I'd build a big tall house with the rooms by the dozen, right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with the real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up, and one even longer coming down, and one more leading nowhere just for show. I'd fill my yard with the chicks and turkeys and geese and ducks for the town to see and hear.
All right, sorry, I couldn't help it. I had to do that to you. What's going on, YouTube, Facebook? Oh, Jesus, Rumble. Apologies for that. I have in studio a friend of mine, personal friend of mine, the Pew Pew Jew. That's his handle on Instagram. That's your brand. I couldn't resist. I had to freaking get some Fiddler of the Roof going.
Totally gives me PTSD. You're made to watch that movie 4,000 times as a kid.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah,
It's a great movie. I mean,
it's a great movie if you watch it like once in a blue moon. But like when you're like every year on the dot, you got to watch it again in school or something like that. It's
It's not enough.
Stop.
It's too much.
Way too much.
Oh my God. Well, you got a lot of insight on what's currently going on with the Kanye Wests. What's anytime Judaism gets brought up, it seems like it's automatically classified into like a negative context when it comes to talking about Jewish people. You're seeing what's going on real time right now as far as Kanye talking about the control of Hollywood, the media, MSM by Jewish people, which people are automatically classifying as anti-Semitism. Where do you stand on all of this?
I mean, he's not wrong. Let me first say off. Yes, Jews do control a lot of. I should say control, run a lot of media outlets in different aspects of Hollywood and stuff like that. But my big thing is, who cares? Why does their religion make a difference?
You see that. Because I think it boils down to like nepotism, to where it's like favoritism based upon a religion or ethnicity. And if it does exist in the Jewish community, is it right? Because, for example, and this is where I stand on, and I don't fucking hate Jewish people.
Yeah, no,
but
we're good.
It's a question of, if white people get accused of hiring fellow white people simply because of the skin color, and black people do it too, if Jewish people do it, does that make it right? Or does that make it messed up? And if it is messed up, why are we not allowed to say, hey, if we are condemning these other people, other races, other cultures of doing this, why is it anti-Semitic to criticize Jewish people of doing this?
I mean, it's not anti-Semitic to criticize Jews for doing the same type of thing as everyone else. However, I think in this, particular story narrative, what Yi was going after doesn't make a difference if they're Jews or not. Mm-hmm. It's, why don't you just say, hey, there are the people that run, my accounts, my contracts, stuff like that. Who cares if they're Jewish? Like that's my point. My point is, their Judaism should have no part of bad business practices. You run the business, I run the business.
Right.
We all know people who are just not good people when it comes to business. Now, I'm not saying that they're bad business.
Right.
Like, I'm talking about like they're just bad people doing bad things in business. So my question again is, you're right. Sometimes Jews will hire other Jews, right? We all do that, right? I have a friend, hey, you need a job? Great, I'll give you a job. But why does the comments have to be directed as a lump lumping all Jews together. That doesn't make any sense because you know me. We've done stuff together. You know, I've given you that poster to raise money for your organization. We do tons of stuff. Would you consider me one of those Jews, doing bad practices in business? I mean, I would hope not.
Right.
So again, when you lump everyone together, I think that's a very big issue, and I think that's pretty anti-Semitic, racist, whatever you want to, whatever.
How should Kanye have worded that differently than to have not come off as condemning all Jews? Did it sound like to you that he was condemning all Jews, or just the Jews that were running basically what he was accusing them of, nepotism in the media and in the industry of the music industry?
I mean, it did sound like he was lumping Jews in the whole. Now, do I think he meant that? I have no idea. I can't tell you especially what he's thinking, right? No one knows. But
the jury's out on that one.
Yeah, exactly. But no, but even if he was saying that the Jews who wrote his contracts and telling him he can't do this and telling him he can't do that, even if they were Jewish, who cares?
I think it goes back to the whole anti-Semitism accusation, or more sense, I think what Kanye was trying to describe was that it was Jews protecting other Jews and essentially maintaining fiscal domination by only hiring their own kind, is that's what my interpretation of what he was saying means. And when we've seen this, I mean, you yourself said, yeah, a lot of them do own stuff like that. So it almost seems as if, is Kanye basically trying to say that Jews are protecting Jews and hoarding the money and things such as that? Is that what he's trying to say, or I'm kind of confused on this? And this is a conversation that I wanted to have with someone who's Jewish and has a good level for conversations on this, because it's like we can't even have this discussion because people are like, oh, it's automatically anti-Semitic. It's like, well, why can't we dissect this and see what's at the core of this?
You're right. I mean, again, I can't tell you what Kanye was thinking. I really don't know what he intended, but I was reading, and I've got a horrible memory, and it's very hard for me to remember like all the little nitpicky things. But I was reading a timeline of the whole Kanye West thing from, early October through now. Mm-hmm. He has a history of saying anti-Semitic things. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'll send you the link.
Do you remember anything off the top of your head? It doesn't surprise me. I mean,
there's been constant.
Kanye's so off the wall.
Yeah. I mean, there's been constant accusations. That Hitler was not such a bad guy, and he admired what Hitler did in terms of changing the country and stuff like that. And
Kanye said that?
Yeah.
Stop.
I mean, I just messaged you on IG. I just messaged you. But yeah, I mean, and again, it's so hard to go so deep into it because we're talking about so many things. Mm-hmm. But if he would have just said what he did, mm-hmm. and there was no history, I would sit back and say, you know what? Maybe he misspoke. Maybe his words were taken out of context. But based on what I've read, and again, I'm not. Based on what I've read, mm-hmm. He seems like he has a history.
Yeah.
So I'm not one of these people that sit on social media all day calling out anti-Semitism. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've noticed that about you. You definitely oh God, dog whistle.
No,
anti-Semitism, because I've noticed people like Ben Shapiro. It's almost as if you can't even have a conversation with that guy without instantly, it's anti-Semitic. It's anti-Semitic. It's like, Ben, I think you're a little overreacting a little bit on some of this stuff.
No, so I'll be honest. I grew up with Ben. I've known him nearly my whole life.
Is it true that all Jews know each other?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah,
white people are the same way. Yeah,
we meet once a year at the protocol. So no, but
hey, what they gonna do?
Exactly. No, but at the end of the day, I don't sit on social media calling out anti-Semites, even when they should be called out, because there are a lot of people that do that, mm-hmm. and I think it's good. I think it's important to call out any sort of hate. Mm-hmm. However, you know me, and you know what I do for a living. Mm-hmm. I'm very incredibly pro 2A, and my main focus is arming Jews, teaching them to defend themselves, mm-hmm. because anti-Semitism isn't going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
We've had it for
Racism, it doesn't matter. It's always going to exist.
You
yeah.
can call out for
Yeah.
every 10 people you call out. There's 100 other people waiting
As
to make
long
their
as
mark.
ignorance exists in the world, you're always going to have everything from misogyny to race. It's always going to
It's
exist.
always gonna be there.
Yeah.
So my main focus is, yep, anti-Semitism exists. I'm gonna sit there and make sure that my friends, my family, have firearms, are trained with them. They know what to do, as well as inspire other Jews around the country to pick up those firearms and learn to defend themselves. Because we all know that you're your own first line of defense.
Right, because it's the same as like gun rights or black rights, women's rights, things, Jewish rights, 100%. Did you see the tweet from Candace Owens that she retweeted the? Oh God, let me pull up on my Instagram.
Max Blumenthal.
Who is he? Like, what is the deal with this? Have you seen this situation develop? And if you have, what is your take on
Okay,
this?
so Max Blumenthal is just a Jew hater.
Okay.
I guess call him a Jewish Jew hater.
What classifies him as a Jew hater?
I mean, if you just follow everything he says, he just
Because I don't know who he is.
So he's been constantly just ripping, Israel and other conservative Jews and all those Jewish anti-Semitic stereotypes and anti-Semitic tropes and all that stuff. But he's been doing it for years. He's got a big platform. And
How would they tolerate that on social media if he's openly anti-Semitic? How would they still have a platform?
because
Or does he walk the line very?
No, I mean, he walks the line, but he also is he's not shy about it. But at the same time, you can, unfortunately, you look at social media platforms. I'm not talking about post Elon Musk, but, for years now, Jews are always been open season. I mean, it's always been, make fun of the Jews, destroy the Jews, rip the Jews. No, you're not going to get penalized for that on social media. I mean, unless you're literally calling, for the death of the Jew, then yeah. But
answer me honestly on this.
Yeah.
Do you really feel that that Jews could be targeted again in the fashion they have been throughout the history of the world? Do you think that that's still possible? And the mic, let's put it closer because you can adjust it. You can adjust the mic, like you can tip it up and down.
Oh,
there you go. Yeah,
right there, like that. We're good. We're good.
yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Do I think it's possible? 100%. I definitely do think it's possible. Do I think it will happen? This will get me, hot water. But
Sure,
me,
you're a pro
me,
2A Jew, dude. I think you're okay.
right? I think that in America, the only way it would happen is if Democrats keep winning.
You think so?
I'm not saying it will happen.
No, yeah, I know that.
But
just saying,
I'm saying, yeah, I definitely think that.
that's so weird because I've always seen more anti-Semitism come from the right.
Okay, so someone posted that on my Instagram today, and
Of course, I'm not saying everybody on the right's saying that's not what I'm saying. but
right.
yeah.
I do know. I mean, I don't see it on the right as maybe on the ultra right.
Yeah,
maybe
that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
I mean, what's her name?
Alt-right.
What's her name? Inspired a shooter of mine. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Yeah.
Oh, the Jewish space lasers.
So
How do I get access to that? Because you know each other. Or everybody knows. All Jews know each other. How would me, a Goyim, right?
Yeah.
How would I get access to that Jewish space laser?
Uh,
Because I got some revenge on Instagram that I want to take care of.
I mean, the first thing you do, you have to go get a circumcision.
I'm good there.
You're good.
I'm good there.
No, so when she posted her whole thing about the Jewish space laser owned by the Rothschilds.
Bro, I saw that, and people they love her so much, and I'm like, dude, have you seen some of the dumb shit she said?
Yeah. Again, I don't. The problem is, someone like her will say that.
Mm-hmm.
The left will jump all over it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you have like the squad ripping,
Yeah.
Just anti-Semitic
true.
tropes
Yeah, you're
left
right.
and right.
Forgot about that.
And you have
Ilhan Omar.
right,
Yeah.
all of them.
It's all about the Benjamins.
It's all about the Benjamins, right?
Yeah.
They'll come out and say like, "Oh, she's horrible, she's horrible." But then again, look at everything they've said and done.
Yeah.
But I'm one of these people like I said, anti-Semitism is here today. You can whine and complain about it, or you can do something about it. Green said that, and then I came out with a shirt based on Die Hard. It says, "Now I have a Jewish space laser." Oi, oi, oi. Right, and it's been a great seller. Right. I'm going to capitalize on it, and I'm going to make fun of her doing that. So it's just one of the things that I see more anti-Semitism coming from the left. I think they are a lot less tolerant than the right.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, when I'm talking about the right, I'm not talking about
the alt-right.
The alt-right, right? I mean, the alt-right
Yeah.
they're crazy. The
Yeah.
the ultra left, they're crazy.
Yeah.
But you're more to the right than you are to the left, and
Yeah.
you're not anti-Semitic, and that's what I'm saying. Like more to the right.
Right, yeah, I know
I'm
what
talking
you
about
mean,
more people like us.
Yeah.
So
where do you? I want to go back to the idea of Jews controlling so much of the media. I can understand some people's skepticism and paranoia of certain cultures protecting themselves. Say, for example, Islam over in Ilhan Omar's district. It's very prevalent over there. It's very heavy Muslim population, and they look out for each other. This is, I think, the main concern of so many Americans, or I shouldn't say so many, of a lot of Americans, of are Jewish people getting away with this and not being called out for it? Because take for example, let's say like you weren't Jewish. Let's just say like you were straight white. And I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between like, let me put you on the spot. Can you define for me, what is Zionism? Because I think there's a lot of people, and I ask you that because I feel like there's a lot of people that don't understand a lot of these terms because they are usually taken out of context so much. But can you tell me what a Zionist Jew consists of or what that is?
I mean, to me, a Zionist Jew is someone who loves and supports Israel. It's really that simple.
Now, what about, because this is where I think a lot of confusion comes in. When you have, say, for example, an American Jew who they accuse of being a Zionist, which is someone that lives in America, but they love and support Israel more. Is that an issue? Because if I look at somebody, say, for example, from Mexico that comes over here and they love Mexico, yada, 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 people are kind of like, well, you're an American now. What about with Zionism, with American Jews?
So I'm an American Jew. I bleed red, white, and blue. At this point in my life, I don't have plans to move to Israel ever. I love America, and until stuff changes, I probably will never move to Israel. I've been there countless times.
Is that the goal of most Jewish people, is to move back to Israel?
I mean, eventually, when our Messiah comes and he comes in, and we all move back to Israel eventually. But at this point, doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. So.
At the rate things are going.
At the rate, exactly.
For me, it's like, I believe in Jesus, so it's kind of like it's around the corner. It's around the corner.
But no,
I just hope that if y'all's Messiah comes, you don't murder him like you did ours. That's just messed up. I couldn't resist.
No, it's all good, man. It's true. I deal with so many people, like being in the firearms industry. There's a lot of religious
dark
people,
humor. Yeah,
a lot of dark humor. So my
that's
favorite.
what I love about being on Rumble now. We're uncensored. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Oh no,
we can say whatever we want.
No, it's great. And like my favorite one is like, so when you die and you didn't accept Jesus, aren't you afraid of going to hell? And then I'll just turn to them. I'm like, well, when you die and you realize that Jesus was a false Messiah, what are you gonna do? And it's like they have nothing. It's like they've never even thought about that. Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't bother me. In our world, especially in not just the conservative or gun world, you got to have thick skin nowadays.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you have thick skin, you
Things
can
don't get to you.
I mean, I have one of my closest friends is this guy. He works at a tactical store in Plano, and blonde hair, blue eyes, and I mean, like we talk. I mean, I literally picked up my first suppressor from him yesterday. We talk all the time, and when my book came out, the empty book, I signed it Sieg Heil.
Oh my god!
And I didn't tell him. I'm like, oh, by the way, here, man, here's a signed copy. And like 2 hours later, he calls me. He's like, dude, you
what the fuck?
Suck. and like, okay, look, you know what?
Get me in trouble over here.
And look, you have to understand, right? I lost over 60 relatives in the Holocaust, right?
Jesus, really?
Yeah, my grandfather, one of my grandfathers growing up had numbers tattooed on his arm.
Wow.
My other grandmother, my other grandfather hid in a ditch half the size of this table for 18 months.
Holy cow.
In a barn under hay. Was able to come out only 1 hour a night. My grandmothers both survived also. So I have a very strong connection to the Holocaust. And I'm still one of these people that I am incredibly self-deprecating. I always tell people, and this gets me into trouble with Jews all the time. I always tell them, I'm like, all right, guess what? It's time to move on from the Holocaust. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Never forget. Move on. Okay, it's been 80 years.
Move on in what way is that? What do you mean here?
Move on, just like stop using it to become a victim.
Did Jews do that?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
It's like oh, I would love to buy a Mercedes or a BMW, but no, we can't. It's a German-made car. I'm like, all right, dude, like relax.
Meanwhile,
okay?
you're talking on your iPhone from China, and I'm pretty sure they don't like the Jews very much. And yeah, I see what you're saying.
So my big thing is like just move on.
Mm-hmm.
Like stop dwelling on the past. It's like with everything. Just it's time to
That's not the same people anymore.
Right. It's not the same people anymore. And look, even if there are some Nazis still alive, and even if Germany is still anti-Semitic, and I'm not saying they are, I mean, I don't really look into it so much, but even if they are, it's like, let's move on a little bit and
don't let it hold you back.
Right. Don't let it hold you back. And that's one of the big things I talk about is like stop being led like sheep, stop acting like sheep led to slaughter and start acting like the David versus Goliath mentality. Start being warriors that we once were. And people are like, no, you can't say that. You can't say that we have to move on. I'm like, why? Move on. Like get over it.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
You don't get to use it as a crutch anymore.
Right. Don't use it as a crutch anymore. Right. Like just move on.
Do you feel, because I feel like there's a correlation here between black people who protest and demand reparations for slavery that they never experienced and never grew up under, and the same with Jewish people that never experienced the Holocaust and didn't grow up under anything like that. Do you feel like it's disingenuous for current generations or our generation to say or trying to identify with that other generation? It's kind of like, no, you didn't. I don't want to say earn that, but you didn't go through that, so you don't get to sit there and talk about it in the context of what I've been through. You haven't been through anything.
So it's a tough question to answer because I do understand what both sides are saying. In the Jewish case, it's so recent and the records are so meticulous that the Nazis kept. Well, that the Nazis kept such meticulous records of everything. So you can have someone who's like, hey, if I look back and I saw that, my grandfather was, or my great-grandfather really was, a wealthy businessman, and they took all of this and all of this and all of this from us. Well, we have proof that it was literally stolen. Now, am I crying and saying I want reparations? No, I'm not doing that because I'm like I said, move on. Okay, it happened.
Yeah.
If you have 100% definite proof, go do it.
Yeah.
And same thing.
But see, like, what's the? And I get where you're coming from, but what is the? Oh God, what's the term? When it expires. Oh, good Lord.
Statute of limitations.
What's the statute of limitations on something like that? Because at what point do we say, oh, my ancestors were enslaved by so-and-so and I can prove it and I want reparations? What's the statute on that? Like,
I don't think there is.
Yeah.
I think something like that, if you have the proof, and again, if you are an African-American and you have proof that, this was taken from you.
You see, I call them Black Americans. I don't call them African American anymore.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Absolutely.
No, I just want to say that because I feel like as a society, we have just begun. We started to lie to ourselves. That I don't say that I'm European American.
Right.
I don't say that I'm Anglo-Saxon.
You're
American.
100% right.
So why have we allowed Black people? Or I shouldn't say that. Why do we buy into this thing of being African American? It's like, you're Black American. You're not from Africa. Like, your ancestry is. My ancestry comes from Europe and Ireland, but I don't claim those things.
Right. No, you're 100%. No, you're 100% right. I think it's just something that's so
indoctrinated
into our head. Like sometimes you just don't think about it. But no, you're right. Black Americans,
it seems like we do that though to continue the segregation within the communities.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with you. And like I said, Black Americans, right? Not African Americans. But I think also at the same time, in 2022, people are so worried about offending someone that if I would say Black American, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're a racist. I'm like,
yeah, how is that a racist?
How's that racist? No, you're the color of your skin is black. You're an American. Yeah. Like, I am a American Jew. I'm not a European Jew. I was born in Los Angeles, 38 years old. Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that's a whole other story in itself. But you know what I'm saying. Like, no, I'm an American Jew or Jewish American, whatever you want to say. But no, you're 100% right on that. I think, like I said, it's just indoctrinated.
And Jewish people, correct me if I'm wrong on this, are the only culture that exists that Judaism is an actual race and a religion.
I believe so.
So Israel would technically be an ethno-state. Well, not anymore, because now there's not just Jews living there.
Right, there's not just Jews living there. I mean,
so it's no longer an ethno-state, but it's the closest thing we have to it.
Probably.
And I'm not talking about that in a negative context.
No, I get it.
Just simply what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you think a lot of the anger towards Jewish people comes from when it comes to anti-Semitism? Where do you see a lot of these stereotypes, or where do you see a lot of these insults being rooted from? And the reason I want to talk about this is because I want to get to the bottom of a lot of these accusations, because because I don't know a lot about Jewish history. I don't know a lot about Israel outside of the Bible and things such as that. So when we talk about, say, for example, Israel and Palestine, it's like these are topics like I know the gist of. I know the establishment of the Jewish state. There's people that make these accusations that it's Palestinian land, yada, 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 and a back and forth. But in your lifetime, in your span, what have you seen the most of in regards to people hating Jewish people and the reasons for that?
Again, my lifetime, it's like you said earlier, right? The media, because we control the media, we control Hollywood and stuff like that. And just quickly to go back on something we were talking about earlier about like Jews calling out Jews, right? Like, I think Jeffrey Epstein was a piece of trash.
Yeah.
And
Was he Jewish?
I'm going to guess with the last name Epstein.
Well, I mean, you see, that's the other thing that
right?
I read an article a few days ago. I want to bring this over to you. It talked about, of the Jewish community as a whole, only 21% are actual practicing Jews, and the remainder are not. But a lot of them do use the Jewish label to shield themselves from criticisms.
Gynos.
Gynos? What's a gyno?
Jew in name only.
Oh, it sounds like a Greek fucking hero. I'll take a gyro. A Jew in name only. A
Jew in name
gyno.
only? Yeah.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
A Jew in name only.
So I use that term often just because I'm calling a lot of people, a lot of members of the U.S. government who are the biggest gun grabbers are gynos, right? Like, you have Dianne Feinstein, Michael Bloomberg, Blumenthal. I mean, there's countless. So it's one of the things. It's like, no, oh no, we're Jews and we want to take guns off the streets and defend. I'm like, shut up. Don't use that.
Oh, they've actually said stuff like that.
I mean, similar type stuff, but I mean, it's just one of the things that, like, no, if someone is going against, if someone is Jewish and they're in positions of power, or even if they're not positions of power, but they're Jewish and they're going against everything that is Judaism, or even everything that's against the Constitution,
Right.
I will sit there and call them out all day.
So it'd be the same as somebody that says they're a Christian and they go out there and they're like probably espousing non-Christian values and things like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, that's what I'm saying. There's no difference, and that's why going back, like Kanye using the Jews who control the media, like who cares? Like, what does their religion have to do with it? And that's what I was saying, right? Like,
is he talking about more in the context of Jewish religion or Jewish race?
Does it matter?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my question.
Yeah.
And I haven't found a good answer.
I would say it would matter if it's in cases of where examples can be given of nepotism, to where they're only hiring other Jews. Then it's discrimination.
I mean, okay, fine, but it doesn't seem like that's what he was saying. And again,
okay.
and again, you can use that for anything, right? I mean, I know you were in the military, right? So like, army, right? Okay, so you were in the army. So if you have like 100, colonels in the army who all, I don't know, raped and didn't get caught, but everyone knows. Are you going to say like, oh, the entire U.S. Army is horrible because they're not being punished? No, it's the same thing, right? It's like, no, those 100 bad apples,
right,
are
no. I get your point,
right,
there.
And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's.
But I think the point that he's alluding to, though, was the idea that it's Jewish people protecting Jewish people. That's my interpretation of it. Was that he was basically saying this is Jewish nepotism.
But again, you can say that with.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it right.
Right, no, 100%, 100%. You can say military brass is protecting military brass.
Oh, and they do that.
Right, and they do that, right? I mean, I didn't serve. I was in the military, but I've dealt with enough veterans to know that that they talk about it all the time. So I'm saying, like, again, it doesn't make a difference what their religion is, and that's my whole point.
If the religion is something they use to essentially shield themselves with and protect themselves with, or show favoritism, because then you would actually classify that, and I hate doing this, but like Jewish privilege. If you're afforded an opportunity that other people can't based upon your race, religion, whatever the case may be, then that would be classified in the terms of race as being racist, discriminatory.
Okay. And that's a fair assessment.
Okay. So let's go off of that then.
Okay.
Where do we stand on that? Where do you feel like as a nation, if somebody like me, a cracker white dude from America, says, wait a minute, if we have Jewish nepotism in certain areas and it needs to be called out and fixed where it's like you hire based upon merit, not religion, does that classify me as an anti-Semite? Because it seems like on the MSM right now, especially with people like Ben Shapiro and the rest of them, like if you say anything related even close to that, instantly you're anti-Semitic. It's like, and my thing is like, look, if it is Jewish people protecting Jewish people, or if it was white people protecting white people, it's like, that's kind of messed up. That's not equal opportunity. That's not fair across the board.
Right. So what I think it comes down to is how you see the world, right?
Okay.
I think that if Jews are doing bad business practices, and like you said, they're using their Jewishness to do those bad practices, I don't think there's a problem calling them out.
Why does it matter if it's positive or negative though?
What do you mean?
Okay, let's say again, if it was say like I was hiring at Shell Shock and we're not doing any negative business practices. Everything's positive. Everything's, like we're doing. Everything's dress right dress. We're in line with our taxes and everything like that. But I'm only hiring white people. But my practice isn't bad. But isn't that still discriminatory against other races?
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it might be. I mean, it is. And
because I feel like that's what Kanye was trying to say. And if it wasn't, I do feel like that's what a lot of people are trying to bring to light, saying, wait a minute. Why is this being allowed? Why can't we call this out?
So I didn't see anything that's what he was doing, like calling out like, oh, Jews are just protecting Jews. Like I didn't read that anywhere.
Okay.
So for me, that's new.
Okay.
But I do feel like if you're going to discriminate against anyone, then yeah, it should
deserves to be called out.
It deserves to be called out. It doesn't make a difference. Now again, let's be honest. This is America. If you want to only hire white people, and that comes out, and people who are, have the qualifications to work at Shell Shock, but you don't hire them based on the fact that not because they're black or not because they're Asian or Jewish, but because you only do white people, then I am a proud capitalist. I won't support your business. I won't support a business.
So now you're getting into the libertarian. No, I love where you're going.
Right,
I agree with you.
Right.
I agree with you. I think businesses should have the right to discriminate.
Absolutely.
Because that is your freedom to choose. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you snuck that up on me because I was like, oh, shit, you're doing a libertarian idea now. And it's like, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
And what's really funny is like I've been
But is it because of libertarian values?
No, I've been a conservative for probably the last 15 years. As soon as I started getting into politics, I kind of was, my story in short was like I turned off FM radio one morning because they were talking about on the FM radio in LA, and I'm like, God, I feel myself just the brain cells exploding one by one. I turned on AM radio, found talk radio, and I was never into politics, didn't care. And the next thing I know, I driving to work, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, wow, that makes sense. And before I know it, I'm like, wow, I thought all Jews were Democrats, right? Like, I'm not even a Democrat. I'm not even a Republican.
Are most Jews Democrats?
So a lot of most Orthodox Jews tend to vote Republican.
Orthodox being practicing Jews?
Practicing Jews.
Okay.
Tend to be more
because they align more with the traditionalism of the Republican Party.
Yes, okay. and the Judeo-Christian value system, stuff like that. So a lot of them, most of them tend to vote Republican.
Right.
Reformed and conservative Judaism, and by conservative, I don't mean, for your listeners, I don't mean conservative politics,
right.
But they, in a lot of cases, tend to vote left. So,
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
The Reformed and conservative Judaism, Jews, I'm not going to say in most cases, I don't know the exact numbers, but a huge, overwhelmingly big number tend to be more liberal. I did
see, or I did hear where I did hear where Kanye now calls himself a black Jew. He says he's Jewish. And I'm guessing that just means that he's converted to Judaism?
No.
What is he referring to? Because he was saying that the original Jews were black. Well, I don't want to misquote him. Isn't that what he said, or something similar?
Okay, so there's a theory, and I don't know it well enough, so I really don't want to delve into it. But there's a group called the Black Hebrew Israelites.
Yes. Matter of fact, they were at that protest with Nick Sandmann, who, when the Native American was beating on the
Yeah.
drum, they were behind him, also egging him on to go after those white kids.
So I don't know enough about the Black Hebrew Israelites. All I know is they claim to be Jewish, and the problem is if you're worshiping Jesus and you're not practicing any of the Jewish
Yeah, how can you
laws,
be?
how right? And I've been stopped because I wear my yarmulke everywhere I go, and I've been stopped in numerous places. And my favorite thing that these people came up, the Black Hebrew Israelites came up to me. They were like, "So, are you Jewish?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And they're like, "Oh, so you're not really a Jew because you're like Jew-ish?" And I'm like, "You do know that's a grammar thing, right? Like, it's like I'm a Jew."
You really want to major on that?
Yeah, I'm like, and like, but they believe that. They believe that.
Shut up.
Yeah, no, they
So
absolutely.
it's like, so excuse me, are you blackish?
Right. And I turned to them. I'm like, well, are people from Ireland not real Irish?
Yeah,
Like,
because it's
because it's ish. I'm like, it's literally.
that's the most superficial argument you could ever make.
Yeah,
So,
and so whether Kanye believes that he's one of the Black Hebrew Israelites and stuff like that, I mean, go back in history and Jews came from Iran and those areas in the Middle East and maybe parts of Africa. And yes, I'm what they call an Ashkenaz Jew, right? So I come from European descent, and I might not have been OG Jewish, but at the end of the day, I'm a practicing Jew,
Right.
and that makes me a lot more Jewish than someone who's that can come off really bad,
I know what you mean.
right? A Jew,
That's it. We're
right,
canceling as Jewish.
That's
you
it,
heard
right?
that. You heard that. We're done.
right? That's foreskin, right?
Reattach it.
Reattach
Bring it in
it.
here. Reattach it.
Um,
It's 2 days.
no, but what I mean by that is, to me, a Jew is a Jew, right?
Yeah.
Like whether you're practicing or not, a Jew is a Jew. And
But wouldn't that matter though if you're practicing versus not practicing?
no, in Judaism we believe is if you don't lose your
Judaism.
you don't
if you're
lose
not practicing,
if you're not practicing, right? You like you
you're
said,
still a Jew.
you're still a Jew,
So you're still going to be his anointed people just by simple blood.
right?
Okay.
A Jew is a Jew.
144,000. Well, in the Bible, 144,000 Jews. The tribes of Benjamin. Book of Revelations for us, it's like
Okay.
when Moses and Elijah come back, they're there to take the 144,000 Jews, the descendants of, I think it's the tribes of Abraham, excuse me. And don't quote me on that. It's been a long time since I've been in church, but I know what you mean.
Right. So a Jew is a Jew. So what I mean by a practicing Jew, like someone who
That's observant of Jewish
observant
traditions and
Jewish
religion,
traditions, stuff like that. Like if you're saying like, oh, I'm a Jew, but then you're going out and worshiping Jesus all day and have the rosaries and the cross and stuff like that. I'm like, all right. I mean, you might be Jewish, but are you
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that I don't know if he is. I don't know if Kanye is. I really don't.
You think I don't know. I kind of get that feeling that he's using it to shield himself.
Well, he did
from the
co-
criticisms.
he did come out with a crazy tweet, and I can't vouch if it was a real tweet, but I don't know if you saw this. He said that being called anti-Semitism is the new N-word.
He did say that, yeah.
It was okay. So that
Yeah,
was real.
That
okay?
was a real tweet. He posted that to Twitter. He got his Twitter account back, posted that, and I think he got deleted again.
Okay.
I'm just when he tweeted that, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
So that's what I'm saying, right? Like using your Jewishness.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, and that's what I talk about.
to shield yourself.
Right, and that's what I talk about, like a victim mentality. Right?
Yeah.
Like, stop. Just stop.
Mhm.
Like just own it and move on. So I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's all the anti-Semitism in the country. I mean, the constant barrage of attacks in New York.
Dude.
It's nonstop.
Why didn't the media? This is the other thing that I didn't understand. I remember when it was the Jewish, the temple. What's the actual term for it? Excuse me, the synagogue.
Okay.
Synagogue. When the synagogue was attacked, it didn't seem like there was a lot of coverage. I mean, it was during COVID, but seeing the Jews locked out of being able to go to the funeral that I saw, it was up in New York, like New York of all places. New York of all places, it was like, what the hell is going on? Like the Jewish synagogue, was it shot or firebombed?
Oh, I don't know which time.
Yeah, no, not too. Yeah,
Yeah. But there you go. That answers that question before when you said, where do you see most of the anti-Semitism coming from? I would say the left. New York's all left. I mean, there's very few Republicans in the New York government.
Yeah.
So, it's all left. So
Interesting, because I see comments on my Instagram and things like that. Because I usually stay away from Jewish topics because I don't know a lot about it, especially Israel and Palestine. I know if I had to choose between the Jews and the Muslims, I'm going with the Jews every time. I've been with the Muslims. They're not very fun. They're not very nice. I don't care who doesn't like that. But yeah, I get where you're going with that. But it seems to me like over and over again, anytime a criticism or an observance is made, be it rooted in a stereotype or whatever, instantly the rebuttal by people like, I want to say Shapiro, the rebuttal is just instantly like, that's anti-Semitic. And it's just like, okay, but why can't we have these conversations? And Ben sometimes will. I'll give him that. But it does feel like he instantly, that's anti-Semitic.
So again, I can't answer for Ben.
Right.
I know him on a personal level.
I use him though because he's like
he's the biggest.
He's the archetype
Right.
Jew, conservative, and it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that when we watch for things related to Judaism and the conservative movement, instantly Ben Shapiro.
Right. So again, I know him on a personal level, and I can't answer for him. All I can tell you is he happens to be an amazing individual.
I believe I like him. I think he's probably a good person. He's got a lot of values.
Heart of gold, and surprisingly very down to earth when you're like just with him. So I can't answer for that. But I know personally for me, I remember a bunch of years ago in Miami, a Jewish man was walking home from synagogue on Friday night and was killed. And immediately the whole Jewish world, it was an anti-Semitic attack. Had to be. Anti-Semitism. And I was watching the news talking about it, and my parents, who I love, were like, oh, anti-Semitism. And I'm like, is it possible that it was just some druggie looking for a score, needed some quick money, saw a random older man, was going to steal his wallet, and he didn't have a wallet because I believe it was on the Sabbath. And guess what? Druggie got pissed off and killed him. And my parents were like, no, it was anti-Semitism. They catch the guy like 3 days later, cameras, stuff like that. It was a druggie looking for a score. And all of a sudden, the whole Jewish world was silent.
Right.
Like, oh, it was such a tragedy. I turned to my parents, I'm like, stop jumping to conclusions.
Yeah.
Not everything in this world is anti-Semitism. And it's a mentality.
It feels like it's almost exacerbating the issues of, for example, everything is racist now, everything is anti-Semitic, everything is misogynistic, everything is xenophobic, when in fact it's not.
It's the boy who cried wolf.
Yes,
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
and it's something that I talk about all the time, that stop jumping to conclusions. And again, like I said earlier, and it's one of the reasons why I don't call out anti-Semites on social media. There's plenty of people who do that. I'm going to concentrate on arming Jews.
Because once you get in the custom of like just calling out anti-Semitism, it's kind of like, it's good and all, I get that, but that's all you're about. People are going to lose interest. They're just going to, it'd be like somebody calling out racism nonsense. People are going to lose interest.
Right. And
you got to have more to you.
And it's also, in Judaism, there's a concept called Esav Soneas Yaakov, and it's Hebrew, and it means Jacob, it means Esav, right? Jacob's brother, will always hate Jacob. And the idea behind that is God just created it, that we've had anti-Semitism for 3,000 years.
I mean, like the children of Ishmael in the Bible talks about, that's where supposedly theologians say that was the birth of essentially the children of Ishmael being Muslims.
Muslim, right.
Things such as that. That's where they got their start. And they talked about the different languages, whereas the Tower of Babel. Didn't they say one of Noah's children were black, and that's where the origins of black people came from? Something along, I forget how it was.
That again, I can't. I've never heard that one of Noah's kids were black.
Maybe I got that one wrong.
I mean, it's possible, but like I would figure it was him, his wife, on the ark.
Yeah.
No other women, so it's either, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but no,
Maybe
but
it was before that. I don't know.
It could be. But
I read that somewhere. I was like, because there was a whole theory behind it. I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, because then again, how would you trace lineage if it was just too? Yeah, but anyway.
I don't know. But all I know is for 3,000 years there's been anti-Semitism, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And what I tell people is you will never get rid of it, but if you can learn self-defense, and whether it's with a firearm, you know, a martial arts, a knife.
Do you teach only to Jewish people?
No, hell no.
Okay, because that's
No.
somebody in the comments that were kind of like, why does it teach only to Jewish people?
No. I mean, if someone look, I'm not like a certified instructor. I can do basic, take you to the range for the first time and instruct you that way. There's a lot people here in Texas who are
Oh God, they're everywhere.
everywhere, and
It's
they're
like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu back in the 90s. There's
Exactly.
a fucking grappler on every corner. Now
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
like some dude that's like an ex-Navy SEAL on every corner. He's probably got a book deal in a movie. you
yeah,
know?
exactly right. No, but that, I will take if someone calls me or messages me on social media. Hey, can you?
Yeah, because
meet us-
you and I have known each other for a few years.
Yeah.
And it's like I've never,
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's what I say is that you will never be able to stop anti-Semitism, but if you can learn some sort of self-defense, be it guns, knives, martial arts, whatever, you will slow it down. Because if you make them more afraid of us than we are of them,
yeah. Could be one way.
it could be
Just let them know you're not a soft target.
exactly,
I see.
exactly.
Where do you see America going with these elections coming up?
If Republicans win, I'm gonna guess we're gonna have some riots.
I already saw articles where there's cities that are boarding up
Boarding
right
up
now.
already?
And for those, don't worry, we're going to cover midterms starting at 7:30. I see people in the chat. They're all like, "Why are you covering it?" We're doing it at 7:30, as I've announced all over social media. You just don't listen, so I can't help idiots. It's not my fault.
So I think if Republicans win, we will have a riot. I think if Democrats win, just
People going to go to work.
people are going to go to work. But it's going to be a rocky 2 years.
It's already been a rocky 2 years.
And this will probably get a lot of flack. I don't know your listeners at all, really, but man,
Don't hold back. I
don't
give a
know.
shit. Fuck them nerds, dude. If
No.
they don't like it, I don't care.
Oh no, I know, but Trump is already coming after DeSantis and saying,
Yeah.
hey, if you run, I'm gonna destroy you." I'm like, oh my god, just act like a freaking adult for one. Like,
Yeah.
like you know what? If he runs, who cares? Why do you have to trash him? Like, I think Trump is
That's Trump.
and you know the meme of like the guy, the superhero, like trying to push the buttons, like which one does he push, right? So like I wanna make one where it says Trump and DeSantis, and like the idea is all these people who love Trump, right? They all move to Florida, like all these like conservative pundits, right? And they love DeSantis. So it's like, what happens when Trump rips DeSantis? It's like, oh my God, am I Trump or DeSantis now?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? You're going to trash Trump now that he, is going after DeSantis? Like,
It's interesting you say that because I've seen a lot of people on social media that are defending DeSantis against Trump, saying this is too far, and I agree it is too far. There's no need, like on the day before midterms, why are you spilling blood on this? But again, here's the other thing: that's Trump. That's what you get. I can't even sit there and say why. It's like that's who Trump is. If he and here's the other thing: I kind of respect it, but I don't agree with it. I respect in a sense of if he views you. If Trump came after me, it's like, okay, he views me as a threat. I take pride in that.
Right.
He does view DeSantis as a threat because they're polling right now.
Absolutely.
Trump's got 70%. DeSantis has got 10. DeSantis hasn't even made an announcement yet.
Right.
But it is, I'm almost like, I'm kind of excited for it. Like, I can't wait to see what happens to the GOP if there is a massive rift between DeSantis and Trump, because you've got two powerhouses right here. And my thing is, let Trump run again. He's got the clout. Let him do it. DeSantis take the next term. I don't think those two would go well on a ticket together.
I would think, yes, I agree. I personally would like to see DeSantis over Trump. I think Trump is.
Why is that?
I think Trump's way too decisive now. Not indecisive.
Divisive?
Divisive. Thank you.
He's always been divisive.
No, but I think now more than ever, I think there's a lot of people who voted for him in 2020 who at this point are like, no, we just need someone new. We just need start from scratch. Fresh blood.
I've seen an emergence of some conservatives on social media saying we need someone that's going to be as adamant, as strong of a leader, but not as controversial.
You mean DeSantis?
That's why I call DeSantis Trump light.
So I call
DeSantis a refined
Trump with the core.
There you go.
That's what I've been saying, and that's why I want DeSantis to run.
I'd rather make the best of both. Like, give Trump another shot, give him another 4 years, and then let DeSantis come in and clean up.
So my big worry with Trump also is there's been lots of talk that if he does run, he's going to pick Tulsi Gabbard
Oh God,
as
no.
a running mate.
God no.
And
I know Tulsi. I like her, but she's unproven. She's unproven.
And not only that, as a two-way guy, which is my main focus,
She changed her stance, supposedly. And the only thing that locks that down is now she's out there endorsing conservative congressional candidates like Meyer Flores and the rest of them. So she is actively going out there campaigning for Republicans.
yeah. But again, you look at
Liz Cheney.
no, I was gonna say what's hers? John Cornyn,
Mm-hmm.
who just voted for a massive gun reform, gun control. Well, that's great. He is literally one of the two senators from Texas. So like, I don't want to see Tulsi Gabbard, who has had a history of being anti-2A, and Trump, who was the worst president in history for the Second Amendment.
Okay, well, let me start off with Trump was not a pro 2A president. I'll give you that.
Yes.
Worst? I don't know about that, because wasn't it who established the not the NRA? Jesus, I know this. I'm
NFA?
tired. NFA. Thank you. That was back in like what? 30s? I was gonna say 35.
34.
Was that Roosevelt, right? Because Roosevelt established Social Security back in 35, so I think that'd be him.
Okay, so
And then Reagan also was not a pro 2A president either. Like, Republicans love them some Reagan. Don't get me wrong, he had a lot of great stuff. He was not a pro 2A president.
the problem is right now, all the problems we're having with the 2A, whether it's the bump stock, whether it's the brace, whether it's, you name it, it all stemmed from Trump, who said, who literally said,
let them take the guns first, due process second.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
but
that
one thing-
itself.
But it was kind of a good thing that happened. Not that it's good, but I'm saying him doing that allowed us to see other people that would expose themselves that said nothing. For example, Turning Point, nothing.
Right.
NRA, nothing.
Nothing.
Not a peep.
Right.
The very same. That's why I don't like Turning Point. I think they are grifters. I think they are Trump loyalists. And that scares me because it means you're not going to defend the Constitution
Right.
when the time comes for it.
Right.
So when I see stuff like that, it's like, yeah, I don't agree with that, but I'm glad it happened because now we know the NRA is a bunch of just sham artists. They're liars. And I've seen Gun Owners of America do way more good.
So I actually just had a conversation. I voted last week or 2 weeks ago when early voting started, and Jamie Jolly was, and I'm sure you've seen.
I don't know who that is. No.
So she's running for Congress, and like I get like 4,000 flyers from her a day.
Okay.
And
Oh, is she local?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and she got I got a text message from her campaign. It was like, "Oh, are you in for Jamie Jolly?" And I was like, answering them back, I'm like, well, what's her stance on the federal government's overreach of the Second Amendment? And they're like, well, she has an A+ rating from the NRA.
That doesn't mean shit.
And I messaged them back, and I'm like, y'all know that like that's not a flex, right? Like that makes me think that she's going to compromise
That's
on the
like
Second
the
Amendment.
Liberty Report that I've heard Dan Bongino quote when applying it to certain candidates. And if you actually go look up who runs the Liberty Report, it's Blaze Media.
Oh, is
It's
it?
bias.
Okay.
It's bias as hell because I had Dan Crenshaw on, and it's when Crenshaw, and I don't agree with Crenshaw on a lot of stuff, but when Dan Crenshaw had made the statement before Adam Kitzinger really shot himself in the foot, it said Kitzinger, if he had voted more in line with Trump's policies than I think a lot of members on the Freedom Caucus, and it was true. Because there was this website, I think it was like 528, I forget what it was. It's not 528, it's a different one. But it actually shows every single bill that has come down from Congress and where each candidate has voted on it. Kitzinger, 99% voted in line with Trump's agenda. Now he's gone completely polar opposite.
Right.
So it's like when somebody quotes the NRA or somebody quotes the Liberty Report, it's like you're quoting from a biased source. Granted, I would love to believe you, but it's not true. And I
Right.
just want the truth so I can formulate an accurate opinion, or hopefully an accurate
No,
opinion.
100%. And when I went to vote, Jamie Jolly was actually in the parking lot, and I'm not gonna say I confronted her, but I went up to her and I'm like, hey, I voted for you, but something you should understand that in Texas, if your campaign is telling everyone that you have a A+ rating from the NRA, it's not the flex you think it is. And I told her, I said, if you really want to get real gun owners to really support you, I said, reach out to Gun Owners of America,
Mm-hmm.
reach out to Firearms Policy Coalition, or even the Second Amendment Foundation.
Yep.
Get one of those three to back you,
Or all of them.
or all of them,
yeah.
or all of them. But if you get one of those three and say, oh, by the way, Gun Owners of America gave me an A+ rating, I'm like, okay, that's someone that I'm going to vote for.
Exactly, yeah.
So
I've seen that before.
And she took notes. Now, what she actually wrote, she had a pad. I saw her writing the notes. Whether she's going to do something with it, who knows?
They would have
but
confronted Ted Cruz and got the same thing. Like, yeah, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
It was the VA in Temple. He never looked into it.
Right.
There's just a lot of bullshit going on. And but here's the, I get it. They got a busy agenda, but at the same token, it's like, look, this is an issue. This is a serious issue.
Right.
You should look into it or send one of your people. And we never got that. But
Right.
yeah, same thing. I agree. It's like the NRA endorsement. It's not worth anything anymore. And so when I see, I forget who it was. They wanted me to go to some NRA conventions. Like, we'll fly out here. I was like, no, thanks. I was like, I'm good. I don't support them. I think it's just nothing but a money organization now.
Right.
I think when I see NRA bumper stickers, like, I don't think you really know what's going on. I think it's a lot of these older generation guys because the NRA used to do good.
Yep.
When Charlton Heston was head of it, when it was doing good, and then it's just become like so money corrupt.
Yeah, no,
didn't Dana Loesch leave?
Yeah, Dana left. Colin Moore left, and
And I think that was when Trump said that. When he talked about the Second Amendment, and they even took note. They're like, why are you silent on this? Because, and that's the thing that pisses me off. It's like, I wish I could be hand in hand with Turning Point. I wish I could be hand in hand with NRA. But when you turn your back on the Constitution, I'm sorry, you're on the opposite side now.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's
And the reason I was told from somebody higher up in Turning Point why they couldn't say anything about Trump? Because they're a nonprofit and we're not allowed to get political. Bro, I looked at that guy. I was like, are you kidding? You think I'm stupid? Do I look Jewish to you? No, I'm playing. I'm playing. I swear to God, they said that's why they couldn't do it.
Right.
And I was like, then what's the point of your organization? Because they said we can't talk about policy. I was like, that's the whole premise behind your organization to begin with.
Educate,
conservatism on college campuses. It's like, what are you talking about? So I started to see lies and then grifting. I'm like, okay, so you guys aren't really about the Constitution. You're not really about the Second Amendment. And Trump, by and large, and I know a lot of people aren't going to like hearing this, he's a populist.
Right.
But I do like that about him because he listens to his own side. Right. Because when Trump did that, he caught massive blowback. And then his own son, people were going after Junior saying, fix your dad.
Right.
And I don't know where Trump stands anymore on that. But going back to your original point, I can see the concern for that, to where you have Trump who is, I wouldn't say pro 2A, he's just there.
Right.
He's going to go with what the majority of the GOP wants. And then Tulsi, who has not proved herself yet.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And like I said, I've liked Tulsi Gabbard. I actually was very worried when she was running for president.
Bro.
I mean, I thought she would have.
Thank you. She posed the biggest threat to Trump. She could have destroyed him on the debate stage.
Destroyed him. And she would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, maybe not one.
No, I agree because I think it says something when your own side does not want Hillary.
Right, but no, the reason why I think she had a very real possibility of winning is because all the people, the independents who were like on the fence about Trump, would have voted for her.
I agree.
Because she's level-headed.
Yeah.
And she's like an old school Democrat, but anti-gun.
I think to caveat off your point, I think we're going to see tonight when we see the midterm election results coming in. I think it's going to show how bad the DNC has become because they have allowed the trans agenda, the child gender mutilation agenda, the drag queen story, all those agendas to come in and infiltrate the DNC to where Tulsi is a moderate Democrat. Right. She's not a progressive. She's a moderate.
Yes.
So if a moderate had taken charge or had won the primaries, and we didn't even have as progressive tendencies as we do now within the DNC back in 2016.
Right.
But I do feel like she would have been a solid pick for the DNC to really combat Trump. And tonight, when we see these midterm turnouts, if by and large the DNC starts losing a lot of ground, I think it's a very big indicator to see that the progressive movement is killing the DNC, and I'm here for it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think happily that they will double down.
Think so?
Oh yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think they're gonna have to put the brakes on, hit the anchor, and say we need to.
But look at everyone in the DNC right now. They're all super.
Yeah.
You think Bernie Sanders? You think AOC?
Oh, he's done.
No, but I'm saying you think AOC is gonna I think I'm gonna start becoming a little more moderate. Like no.
Here's the thing though. I don't know. Normally, I would say no. They're going to go straight in, but then they're going to have to eventually come to Jesus and have a come to Jesus meeting. In your case, it'd be come to no one.
Right.
So, I love messing with you. But it would be one of those things to where it's like, okay, what do we need to start doing to start locking down some wins? And if we have to start reversing course on some of this stuff, I think they'll do it because they're going to get tired of losing. That or they double down and they really start rigging elections.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, it's like, oh, let's put Fetterman up again.
Oh, Jesus,
no,
yeah.
but that's my
No, I
point.
know, yeah, I
my
know,
point is
yeah.
like if they would think,
I can't believe Democrats are voting for a stroke victim.
I'm okay with voting for a stroke victim who has recovered properly and
Fair enough,
you know,
yeah.
like
But
right,
hasn't recovered yet.
right? Has yet? I mean, Fetterman makes Biden sound like freaking
Oh my God.
Stephen Hawking. I mean, like, I mean, it's ridiculous. And look, I've been saying this for a while. People need to stop saying it's Biden's fault because it's not Biden's fault. He has no idea what the hell he's doing.
Oh, I agree. I
Right?
agree.
Whoever is pulling his strings and to get into conspiracy
I think
theories,
he's-
I think it's Obama's
You
third
think
term.
so?
Yeah.
No,
I think
because even Obama, you see, and this is why I disagree with that, because even Obama wasn't this bad. Because if you look at the GDP and you look at the economy and all the figures and stats, I looked at this the other day. Trump did inherit a downward trending economy, but Trump also took it better. Not downward, excuse me, a growing economy. Inflation was dropped. It was good. Obama's wasn't terrible. Now, I actually look at the stats on this. Under Biden, there is no denying he butchered it. So Obama did not make these mistakes. So why would he make these mistakes with Biden as far as like the canceling the Keystone Pipeline, unless he was embracing of progressive green deals that he was wanting to push?
because Obama's a lot smarter, and Obama knew that even with handlers, call it Soros, if you will, right? Even with him, he did understand you can't tank the whole economy and the whole country in 2 years, right? You have to spread it out, and there was such pushback over 8 years that they did slow it down.
You think so?
I think so. I think so. I mean, I'm probably wrong because usually my wife always tells me I'm wrong. So, I'm probably wrong. But no, but I don't know. I love how people are like, oh, we have to get rid of Biden. Oh, we have to. I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Follow the money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But clearly, and same thing with
Jew said that, by the way.
yeah,
Jew said that.
follow the money. Yeah, exactly right. Hold on, let me warm up my space laser. No, but like at the same time, I posted on Twitter yesterday that. Or maybe this morning, I said if Fetterman wins, all he is a vote.
Oh yeah, I agree.
He is a vote. He will not be allowed to speak on the House floor. He will not be allowed to have any media appearances. He will disappear, except
No,
every
I
now
disagree.
and
I disagree.
No. When I say he'll disappear, meaning if they need a body there
Yeah.
to be like, oh, Senator Fetterman.
No, because look at how they're phrasing it already. They've already recategorized him as disabled. Because when Fetterman debated Oz, and that debate was kind of like, oh, good Lord. Like, I don't like Democrats. By and large, I do not like the DNC policies. I don't like them at all. But even I looked at that, I was like, dude, I kind of feel sorry for this guy. Like, he's going to have another stroke. He is in such a stressful situation. That is the worst situation to be in. But what I see with Fetterman, though, is they are going to hoist him up, like move over minority females, because that is like the, my God, you struck gold. If you can find a minority woman, then boom, that's why I think Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris polled at 1% in the primaries.
Right.
She was, even Democrats didn't want her, but Biden picked her because she was a black female. But with someone like Fetterman, I think they would put him back in the spotlight and simply say, if you criticize him, you're an ableist, whatever you want to call it.
I guess I didn't think about that, and I think that's definitely a possibility.
Democrats love using that. They love using that. I mean, fuck. That's why they put out. That's why Pelosi originally loved the Squad, and then the Squad started turning on the DNC,
yeah.
and they were like, "Get control of your people." And Pelosi's like, then she started to realize this cancel culture mob that belongs to the progressives, that these women, the Jihad Squad, whatever you call them, have a good control over.
Right.
You can't control them.
Right.
And if that's the fact, your party is out of control.
Right. So I know. I guess I didn't think about that. And I think you can definitely see that with Fetterman. I just think that.
I just saw it on Twitter as soon as it happened.
Oh, really?
Instantly, he's like, Republicans are criticizing him because he's disabled. It's like, what? And then they started going back to when Trump was making fun of the reporter who he thought was retarded.
Oh, God.
That one that was taken out of context too, because I saw it as like he's not doing that. He didn't
Right.
even know the reporter had that. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just think. By and large, Fetterman is just going to be a body.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah, he's definitely not going to write any policies or anything
Right.
like that, or he's not going to write any.
No,
he's not going to sit on any committees. And if
No.
he does, he's just an empty chair.
An empty chair. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like I said, they're not going to let him speak. They're not going to let him have any media appearances unless, here he is. Right
Yeah.
here, just wave to,
I think they're just going to look at him and go, oh.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
What do you see happening in Texas tonight? Beto versus Abbott.
I mean, it seemed just from the polling, and then I never really pay attention to polling because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
usually wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did seem like overwhelmingly people were not for Beto.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Greg Abbott fan.
Yeah, I know.
But it is what we have, and
Bro, seeing these last 2 years of Abbott really disappointed me. Operation Lone Star was a massive bust. I had troop friends that were on the ground saying, John, this is a big publicity stunt. We can't even detain people. We're spending how many millions on this? Troops down at the border living in shit.
So
and then Abbott's raising the smoking limit to 21. It's like, what's going on here?
right. So this is what I will tell you. For the first 6 years of Abbott's tenure, he didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah.
And if you look at what he's done in the last 2 years, his conservative policies have been like on super overdrive. Now, yes, not all of them were good, but have been on overdrive. Why? Well, in 2020 at CPAC, they took the 2024 CPAC poll of who would be possible contender for presidency in 2024. Greg Abbott, I believe, came second to last out of like 20 candidates, and he got like 2% of the votes. The following day is when he announced or maybe within a week, that's when he announced no more mask mandates.
Oh, okay.
And then from there on, we got constitutional carry.
Yeah.
And like everything started snowballing.
See, that's the thing that pisses me off. It's like, if you were so adamant about constitutional carry, why did it take so long?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not ungrateful. Thank you for giving me the rights that God already gave me.
Exactly.
Whatever. But it's like, what took you so long? And to me, that's political theater. And I hate that. It's like, if I was governor, day one in office, I want Texas Congress to come together. This is what we're doing.
Right.
And I want to put it to a vote. Constitutional carry now.
Yep.
Because that's the Second Amendment. And people, oh my God, people's like, they need to be trained. It's like, you gotta get a license to drive a car. Well, where is that in the Bill of Rights?
Right.
It's
Exactly.
not.
It's
the
not.
Second Amendment is. I'm pretty sure if we had vehicles like motivated, they would have been like, well, no, I still don't think they would have done that. I don't even believe in I don't even believe in firearm licensing. I think it's bullshit.
Right.
It's your right.
All money.
Yeah.
It's revenue. It's revenue.
You think Beto stands a chance though? Because the polling that I saw, the polls that I just saw today, it was like, we were talking about the podcast before, it's like Abbott's up by 9 points. I don't know if that's accurate, because what we've seen in Texas in the past, it's like, it does concern me that Texas is turning more blue.
Right.
I hope I'm proven wrong. I'm not really calling it either way. I want to see, I would rather see my nightmares not confirmed.
Right. I think I'm not worried about polls closing. When is it?
They think they're almost closed.
In 24 minutes. I'm not worried about polls closing in 24 minutes. I'm worried about 3 a.m.
Oh, gee,
tonight.
dude, you're not even kidding on
No,
that.
I'm not. That's literally what I'm worried about.
Bro, I'm already seeing it right now. And
Maricopa County is saying that 90% of the machines aren't working. It's like, we can send a guy to the moon, but we can't have working machines.
How is it? The last election was like, what, 2 years ago?
Yep.
How has this not been... I look at it, and I know I look at this from a military perspective, as far as like, you test your equipment, you prep all of your equipment at least 48 hours prior. They've had 2 years. 2 years. Why? I posted something. They're running out of paper. How? That's like, bro, if all you sell is apples and grapes and you run out of both, you're an idiot.
Right. So it's not even just a military.
24 hours.
No, but I'm saying it's not even a military.
Yeah, I know.
I'm coming from it like,
Civilian,
what's the company that does it?
Dominion. Now, I don't know if this was Dominion here in Texas.
Oh, it's not. Okay, so
no, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. But all I'm saying is that, like, you guys dropped the ball in 2020.
Bro, did they?
You're fired. We're finding someone new.
Elizabeth Warren was criticizing Dominion Software back in 2016, and then when it goes in favor of them, I mean, both sides do this.
No,
like,
100%.
As long as the sword swings your way, then you love carrying the sword. But if
Right.
it swings the other way, then, oh, damn the sword.
Look, I think at the end of the day, I think
Democrats are more like, do you have a license for that sword?
exactly. No, I think at the end of the day, I think Abbott will win.
Think so?
I hope so. I mean, I think he will, unless we see numbers changing at 3:00 in the morning. And what's crazy is you see all the Democrats already saying, like, hey, we won't be able to count all the votes until a week from now. Like,
bro, that's the thing that's pissing me
oh
off.
my
'Cause,
God.
in the military, they call that prepping the objective. They're getting the objective. So, for example, Iwo Jima.
Okay.
Before troops hit the beach, they were pounding the
Pounding it,
shit
yeah,
out of it.
right.
Prepping the objective. Right now, Democrats, for the past 2 years, have been sitting there saying election deniers are a threat to democracy.
Yep.
Now you've got Stacey Abrams making the same claims. Hillary Clinton came out, made the same claims. So it's like the same things you've been levying against us for the last 2 years. Now you're starting to say before the election even happened, what reason would you have for saying that? Because you know you're about to get creamed and you want a way to combat it.
yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
It's crazy.
I'm just really worried that, like, if this keeps happening, like, let's say it does happen again, right? Where it's like clearly there's something wrong.
Yeah.
If in 2024 it happens again,
Dude, it's that, I don't take this term lightly, civil war.
yeah.
But it's going to get to the point where if Republicans, by and large, feel like the voting process is no longer secured and it has been manipulated,
Yep.
what else do they have to lose?
They don't.
Because at this point, look at what the gas prices are doing.
Slavery or freedom. That's
Bro.
literally what it comes down to.
And it's a dangerous time. And
Yep.
I know every time it's like, this is the most, it's like, bro, if the systems are rigged, what else do we have to lose? Because
Right.
we're already paying insane amount of freaking property tax in my area is just through the roof. It just taxes in general.
Right.
And Biden is no friend of small businesses.
No, not at all.
And I mean, you own a small business.
Yep.
It's just mind boggling to me.
Yeah.
So it does scare me a little bit. It's like, Democrats, please stop doing this because I don't think you understand what you're about to create, because I feel like Republicans by and large are like a wet powder keg. You keep applying heat to it over time and eventually it's going to explode. And I feel like when Republicans explode, Antifa ain't nothing but a speed bump.
Right.
You're going to see militiamen come out of the woodwork and start mowing these people down.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, if law enforcement gets in the way, you're going to meet the same fate.
That 100%. They will.
Because
And
it's deserved. Because the thing that pisses me off, like say for example in Texas, I didn't know there's a place in Plano that did this, but they had a child drag show or a child-friendly drag show. I didn't know that.
Just like 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah.
And it's just like, where's CPS? Where are the police? Because if I can't bring a child into a strip club, why am I allowed to bring it into a place where
Strip
men?
up to the child. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the counter for that would just be, well, they're not nude. It's like, but dude, that guy's got a wedgie and they wear the fake breasts. One thing, like they were actually out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not proper for a child to be exposed to.
No, if we do keep going down this path, it's going to be and I mean, you're in the military, so I've been asked this question numerous times. I'm like, I can't answer it. Will the military,
The leadership will go left and the enlisted will go right.
but the enlisted listen to the leadership, right? Like are they
a good question.
Are they going to break off and say, hey, yeah, you know what, you sorry.
Now you're combating various levels of brainwashing.
Right.
I mean, because we're brainwashed. I'm not even gonna you have to buy into it. You have to buy into the fact that I'm no longer a human, I'm a number.
Right.
And my job is to kill. Unfortunately, I feel like your younger people probably won't. Your older guys will be like, no, I'm not doing this. This is an unlawful order. So I don't know. I really don't know.
And another thing is, with all the numbers in recruiting down,
Oh my God, it's bad.
which is horrible. Like
I love it though. I
Well,
love it. It's
well-
like people don't want to join a woke military.
Well, right, and we'll all like the veterans who just fought for the last 20 years, people like you and countless other people who are just saying, no, what's going on in this country is total BS.
Yeah.
These like you said, you guys were trained to kill. Like and at this point, if it comes to a civil war, you guys don't have any red tape to cut through.
No.
You guys will have these. Groups that'll just be like,
Yeah.
news station, easy objective, let's go.
Oh, it wouldn't be the news station.
No, but I'm using,
Yeah, I know what you mean,
I'm saying, like, control the media, right?
I don't think people by and large understand what American-style civil war would consist of. They think like the Battle of Gettysburg, like no, it's going to be like operations in Baghdad.
Precision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The thing was like I would just adopt Taliban tactics.
Yeah.
You would never know. Like you would never know. It's not going to be. It'd be like drive-bys. We're going to get in unmarked vehicles and we're going to conduct drive. But we're going to do all kinds of operating. The thing is, it won't be one that we're going to do every day. It'll be just like the Taliban. You've got the watches, but we've got the time, and we'll just wear
Yep.
you down over time.
Yep, pretty much.
And here's the other thing, and I know it sounds screwed up. I'd go after families. If I saw an elected official that is going on the opposite side of the Civil War, it's like, I'm going after your family because I'm going to hit you where it hurts.
Right.
Bad. I'm going to put you on your knees. Like, that's the other thing I do not screw around with. When it comes to something like that, it's not, let's put the kids, like, no, you strike and you strike hard and you make them afraid to walk outside that front door. You make them afraid to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm going to listen to what you're saying now.
Right.
Here's the thing. I pray it never comes to that.
100%.
I pray, because I'm nice. I'm a teddy bear. But if it ever came to that, gloves are off.
Right.
Like, you're not an American in my eyes.
Right.
You personally, you know.
No,
what I'm talking about.
I get it.
But it's like and that's how I feel about amnesty with the COVID. It's like, no, when time came for you to stand for what I consider to be American values, which is the belief in freedom, the belief in liberty, religious freedom, medical freedom. When the time came, you crumbled.
Right.
You bent the knee. You did not stand up for us. And the thing that really pisses me off, they had access to the same information we did, and they chose to ignore it. So it's like, no, you don't get amnesty from me. I don't like you.
No.
I feel like you failed the test,
Yeah.
and that was a serious test.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm pretty sure after the American Civil War, eventually the North and South got together and like, okay, hey, my bad, guys, the whole slavery thing, my bad, my B.
Yeah, no,
know.
this would be different.
Think so?
Yeah. I think eventually, yeah, it's not going to be like, all right, yeah, we screwed up. It'll be capitulation.
Think so?
Yeah.
I would love to see a Nuremberg 2.0. I would. And that's what Republicans are promising if Rand Paul, or if Republicans take the House. They're talking about Rand Paul spearheading an investigation into Fauci.
Yeah,
which,
I'm not
holding my breath.
Not at all. Republicans
Now, that's interesting.
have
You
zero
there
spine.
it is. There it is.
They're all talk.
Do you think that's going to change with this election?
No,
You don't?
no,
Why not?
because they don't have spine.
You don't think they're going to grow one now? Because
No.
I feel like, for example, Section 230 for internet or for social media,
Right.
that needs to be on the tip. That's like, that needs to get fixed. Go away. No more government protecting these third-party applicants. None. But you don't feel like there's going to be enough Republican voters saying, if you don't do this, you're out?
We had the ballsiest president in United States history under Trump,
And
the Republicans still
yeah.
did nothing.
I look back at that. It's just like, what? We had control. We could have done so. Why didn't we?
They don't have a spine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that there's enough young blood coming into Congress.
That's
now
what I'm thinking.
that could possibly. I mean, I know I have a friend of mine, Anna Polina.
Yeah, I know Anna. Yeah.
So Anna's awesome. I mean, she's been to my house.
She's running out of Florida, isn't
She's
she?
running out of Florida,
Yeah.
so she seems like she's gonna win, and I can't.
I hope she does.
Yeah, I really cannot be happier for her because she's just a sweetheart and she's a fighter.
Yeah.
I
She's
do.
definitely, Anna's a friend, but even I don't trust her because of her situation, to where it's like, I think you're a great human being. We've hung a few times, but it's like, now that you're in that position, actions, not words.
Well, we'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, she's never been there.
enough.
So let's.
When I say I don't trust, I just mean jury's out. I'm not saying yay or nay.
Right.
Let's see what you
no,
do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see what she's doing. But
Yeah.
from all my interactions with her, she's been a huge fighter for freedom. And I mean, I'm not going to use she's an Air Force vet, but
Yeah.
she's
No, she is, yeah.
she's a vet.
I think her husband is Air Force as well.
I believe so. Yeah. But then
I
you
met
have
him. He's a cool dude,
He's
too.
a great
Yeah.
guy. Then you have a guy, Conrad Kress. He is running for Congress in Hawaii. He was in the SEALs for 30 years. Great guy, and man, this guy, I mean, the nicest guy in the world.
Hawaii's blue though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's got an uphill battle.
Yeah, he does.
But
Yeah.
but I'm saying if he ends up making it, I mean, again, Hawaii's blue.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens, right?
Yeah.
New York's blue, and it looks like they're about to.
Bro, New Jersey almost flipped.
No, but I'm saying New York might. Lee Zeldin is like.
That's gonna be an interesting
It's
one.
good, right? It's gonna- but-
That's gonna be an interesting one.
Right, absolutely. But I'm saying being in Hawaii,
Yeah.
people are so fed up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. But I know him, this guy Conrad Kress. If any of your followers are in Hawaii, go vote for him. The guy's amazing. And I mean, he shook my hand the first time I met him, and he walked away, and I turned to my wife, and she's like, "Your face is white." I'm like, "I think my hand's broken." and I'm trying to act all macho. Here's a veteran SEAL for 25, 26, 30 years. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
He shakes my hand. I'm like, "Oh my God." No, so he's in. There's another SEAL, former SEAL, Derek Van Orden in Wisconsin.
There's a few Green Berets running
Few
too.
Green Berets.
Yeah.
So I'm saying
We
there's
gotta get some regular infantry guys running. What the hell? It's all the spec ops fuckers. What do they get? No, I'm not. No, man. Nope. I like my job.
yeah, no,
I'm making way more money doing this
yeah.
and less stress than it would be, because I know how people are on social media. It's like, dude,
no, I get it, but
they
no.
would kick me off of so many. I would
So
never even be
many
appointed to
appointed.
committees in Congress. It'd just be like, this guy called Nancy Pelosi a cunt. No, we're not doing that. Madam Speaker, go fuck yourself. That's why I saw when Madison.
See, but that's what
Cawthorn-
we need. That's what we need.
Okay, so I would totally pull that off. I would
you-
totally be tweeting
do
Nancy
you-
Pelosi, go suck start a shotgun.
But do you understand the support you would get?
Oh, I'd be crucified by the GOP.
No, you wouldn't.
I think I would. Trump already was.
And look what happened to him.
That's true, yeah.
The more brash he was,
Yeah.
the bigger support he got.
Yeah.
And if you started just telling Nancy Pelosi to go F herself like
Yeah.
on the floor,
I think that would also be disrespectful to the House, though.
Fair-
But on Twitter,
fair.
it's fair game.
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll be slip on a banana peel, you dumb. I get that. I know. I've been thinking about that too because you got Catalina Lauf out of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
I've met her. She actually came to the Shell Shock opening. She was really sweet. I think she'd stand for the Constitution. I know she would.
right?
A lot of people. And I hope the new blood does get in there.
Yeah.
I hope it does because that could, I think, to really combat the left, the GOP, and I've continuously said this, the GOP has got to embrace more progressive ideologies in the sense of freedom and liberty. Like, get away. And like Trump said last night, he said, we're going to go back to our Judeo-Christian foundation. I'm like, oh, I could have done without that. And I was like, don't. And it's not that I'm against it. It's just like, don't alienate the other religions.
Yes.
Bring them under the same umbrella of the freedom of religion and from religion.
Yes.
That's where I stand, even though I'm a Christian. It's like, I feel like, and I've made this example so many times because I think right-wingers just don't get it. It's like, say, for example, if we basically say that we don't want any legislation passed that favors any singular religion at all. Granted, there are values that come with certain bills that you could say, subscribe mainly to Christianity, or whatever the case.
Right.
But as long as it's not like on the nose, say, for example, we're going to pass Sharia law. But the reason why I say we should have freedom from religion is if we have people like Ilhan Omar, who gets a more majority representation in Congress, more Muslims, and I'm not talking bad about Muslim people, you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And suddenly they've got the majority, and they want to start passing Islamic-based legislation. What's to stop that?
Right. There's nothing.
That's why there's checks and balances, and that's why I think church and state should always be separate. And it's not an attack on Christianity. In fact, it's actually the opposite. It's not only defending Christianity, it's defending all religions.
Isn't and I correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm your wife now.
Yeah, right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe isn't the original intent of the separation of church and state nothing to do with passing religious laws? All it was that
Favoritism of the government.
right, that there would be no one religion controlling the country. Wasn't it something along those lines?
It can be argued different ways because even when that was passed, the main religion in America was the Church of England. And the government was favoring that church. I think the church didn't pay tax or something like that. And other sects that sprung up, they were taxed heavily. And they're like, wait a minute, this isn't fair. This isn't right. Why does the Church of England? So, and that's when Thomas Jefferson starts speaking about, I think it was in the letter of Tripoli. Realistically, there is nothing in the Constitution about the separation of church and state.
Right.
But it's kind of like the principle, it's the guiding idea of freedom and liberty. That's what they were for.
Right.
And I'll even say this, if the forefathers were against that, then I'm against them. I was like, because I feel like the forefathers, and this is why people will use this conversation, they'll use it in debates. It's kind of like, well, the forefathers said this. Yeah, the forefathers also had slaves.
Right.
They didn't get it all right. Even when they wrote, the 3/5 thing,
Right.
it's like, they still got that wrong.
100%.
They were definitely in the right direction. But there's some things that I feel like, yeah, we should have the separation of church and state to protect all religions. Because I don't think they really could have known how big America was going to become. Not to the extent of how it's a superpower now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they probably had a
had an
notion,
idea,
right?
yeah,
But I mean, it's like the same thing, right? It's like people are like, oh, well, the Second Amendment was only talking about muskets. I'm like, yeah.
Do you really want us to use muskets?
Yeah,
in place?
I'm like, yeah, you know what? Get the hell off social media.
Yeah.
Send me a carrier pigeon with that
Yeah.
message and in quill.
Yeah.
And parchment. And
Do
then
you really want me to shoot this 2-inch musket ball with no rifling? So it's gonna go. We don't know where it's
gonna
going.
go. Yeah, exactly.
You really want me to use this?
Yeah, exactly.
Because even the forefathers knew. Because they even had machine guns back then. It was the hand cranked ones.
I mean, they had the oh god, what's it called? The puckle gun.
Yeah.
From I think it was like 1718 is when it came out. So we're talking about
it wasn't
40
the version
years.
of our machine gun, but it was the closest they
but
had.
it was a
fully
multi-shot,
automatic.
right? It was a multi-shot,
Yeah.
right. So, yeah, I mean,
so people that make that argument, it was just like, it's like I don't think they really understand. It's kind of like, yeah, it might not be written down verbatim, but it's the essence, the principle,
Right.
the driving force of what the Constitution represented.
Absolutely.
And to me, it's like I want freedom for everybody.
Yep.
And that's why I want to go back to the point where I feel the GOP becomes more progressive, not in the sense of the comparison of liberal progressivism, but progressive out of the movement of religion guides everything. To where
Yeah.
instead it's like live and let live. leave me alone. I don't want to pay for it. Small government. Stay the hell out of the bedroom. Stay the hell out of the marriages. Let them do what they want.
So it's funny. Like I said, I've been conservative pretty much for 15 years, but only recently, I'll type something. They're like, "Whoa, we didn't know you were so libertarian." And I'm like, "Oh man, shoot, am I a libertarian?" And then I found Spike Cohen.
Spike Cohen, yeah.
And
I like Spike Cohen sometimes. Like he goes after the ATF a lot. Like,
Yeah.
The only time I use Facebook, I'll go look at what Spike's
Spike's-
post.
yeah.
I need to get him on the show. I had emailed him a while back and I forgot to follow up.
so
but-
so I'm kind of like slowly becoming
Yeah.
between him and I don't know if you know Maj Touré.
No, I don't know, Mash.
Oh,
For me, it's Austin Peterson and him.
So
Austin Peterson is what converted me into, opened my
Okay.
eyes to libertarianism, like with Milton Friedman.
Okay, yeah.
Milton Friedman and John Locke and things like that.
You got to find this guy Maj Touré. Have you ever seen the brand Black Guns Matter?
Yes. Yeah,
So-
I know what you're talking
so-
about.
so
Yes.
the guy-
Is he the
the-
guy with dreads?
So
Yes. I know what you're
that's
talking about.
Maj. He is like a freaking prophet. Like,
Libertarian?
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
snap.
You would. He's someone you should absolutely bring out here and get on your show.
Okay.
He
I'll have to
is.
reach out.
Oh, he is fantastic. Reach out to him now. He might. I mean, I don't know for sure, but this weekend is the USCCA Expo in Fort Worth, so he might be in town this weekend.
Oh, snap. USCCA. What is that?
United States Concealed Carry Association. That
Oh,
the
snap.
insurance.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's at
that's
the-
right. Yeah, they'd asked me to work with them in the past before.
They're great.
Yeah.
So that's who I use, for my insurance, and I mean, so they're having. I think it's the Kay Bailey, in Fort Worth. Is it Kay Bailey? Which is
The Hutchinson Center.
no, I don't know.
Okay.
Just go to USCCA
Is it like a gun
Expo.
thing, or
yeah,
is
it's
it
like a
like a gun
3-day
show?
expo. It's like an NRA show, but they have.
Oh, okay.
But it's not on the same scale. But it's fantastic.
When is it?
This weekend, this upcoming
Going to
weekend.
the Renaissance Festival this weekend.
Ooh.
All right. I know, but I told my girlfriend I'd take her. I
Do
love
it.
the Ren Fest.
Do it. Are they?
But-
Are they? I know you've had butted heads with them in the past.
Oh, I'm not going there to work. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
you're
they pulled our license.
They
Or
pulled your
our
license?
Yeah, after they said that you're going to bend the knee and take the when we were doing Tavern Tankards or Tipsy's Woodworking. They were just like, yeah, you need to show proof of vaccination. I was like, no, I'm not making my employees do that. And
Yeah,
like,
no,
well,
I saw that.
you can't be like, yeah, whatever. So
So you're just going as a.
we could have made so much money.
So
Oh my god,
I mean,
we could have made so much.
are you going to
money.
the Renfest
That one? Yeah.
the whole weekend?
It's gonna be. We're gonna drive up Friday night, get
Okay,
a
so
hotel, go up early Saturday morning, walk around, probably get hammered, and go back to the hotel, and then drive back on Sunday.
Okay, I was gonna say USCC Expo is all weekend.
Might be
So-
able to check it out on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's coming back hungover, so I don't know how I'm gonna feel. We'll see. I don't know. Well, brother, we got to wrap this up
Yep.
because we got midterm election results coming up. Man, I'm excited. Like this is. I tell all my sports friends like. This for me is your playoffs.
Yeah.
like this for me is your playoffs.
absolutely.
As like presidential, that's my Super Bowl.
Yeah.
it's like you get your Super Bowl once a year. I get it every 4
4
years.
years, yeah.
and it's like so. This is my time. Like I woke up today, I was like,
Pumped.
did you feel it like standing in line to vote? I felt just empowered. I felt like it's like I know this is just grandirizing, but it's like
No.
this is what the American dream is. I literally get to come in here and say this is who I'm voting for to represent. I like this person.
No,
Until
absolutely.
Democrats cheat and take it away.
Yeah, I was actually yeah, exactly. I was actually going to take my kids out of school, but tests and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So no, but it's an amazing
Yeah.
experience and opportunity to be able to cast your vote for a person who
Yeah.
will run this country and
yeah.
fight for our freedom. Hopefully,
Hopefully,
Yeah.
good Lord. I mean, just seeing what the left has been pushing, it's like, oh my gosh, man, I have in the times I've only really started paying attention to politics like back in 2016. Like I really started opening my eyes to it. Even serving the military for so long, I didn't care. I just
Right.
wanted to kill stuff. Then you get older, it's like, wait a minute, there's something to this. But I started noticing, even back then, like a shift in everything. How we become so, how the left has become so emboldened. And the practices they did back then, I started to see infiltrate the military. And now you have the president of the supposed free world saying that it's okay to put children on puberty blockers. And I'm sitting here going, and I'm going to say something very controversial. I feel like when we opened the gate to homosexual marriage and stuff like that, trans came right behind it, metaphorically speaking.
Overton window.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I felt like, and it's not that I'm against gay people. Like, religiously, I think you're wrong. But I think when it comes to principles, you do what you want. It's freedom. I don't get to cherry pick it. You know, I have a lot of gay friends. But even still, it's just kind of like there has to be a line drawn.
Right.
And I feel like transgenderism is it. Because it wasn't just live and let live. It was like, now you have to celebrate this. And if you criticize transgenderism, like Dave Chappelle, the rest of them, they are going to criticize you. They're going to crucify you. But it's like 1% of the population. This is a mental disorder. We have to stop normalizing this and praising it.
Right.
So what I see is like, if we don't win these midterms, I'm nervous for the next 2 years because my gosh, dude, what's going to stop them? This is insane. I can't even believe we're having to vote about this.
Yeah.
I can't even believe we have to have these conversations.
Yeah, and it's
Matt Walsh does a thing. What is a woman?
Yeah.
It's 2022. We should be having the flying hoverboards from Michael J. Fox's Back to the Future by now. But instead, we become so drunk on freedom and these things that we've been afforded for so long that we use it and we just cast it aside and take it for granted.
Right.
We're arguing dumb things that third world countries, like Matt Walsh, I think, went to Africa and he talked to the people there and they're like, you're arguing about what? It's like, yeah, this is a superpower.
Right.
One of the most progressive or one of the most, the greatest countries in the world. This is what we're arguing about. So it's like, you really don't have any problems, do you?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I can only hope that, the country
Votes the right way. Yeah.
not just votes the right way, that the only way to counter any kind of cheating is you got to get the numbers up. You got to get the numbers so high up.
Glad you mentioned that because they talked about that margin for error.
Yeah.
That was the thing, that it was too close that they could have manipulated. But when you go out there and you just flood it, there is no way to cover that up.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And that's the only way. So my only hope is that, over the last 2 weeks and today and, it's 2 hours behind. It's still 5 o'clock in California and Hawaii and stuff like that, or even 4 o'clock in Hawaii.
I'm not expecting any surprises out of California.
Yeah, no, me neither. But, it's still... So,
I hope for it.
But just overwhelmingly, just go out and vote and vote Republican.
Yeah, no, yeah. I was tempted. I saw some libertarian candidates on the ballot today. 2 of them I recognized. I was like, oh, fuck. I got to go Republican. It's too close. This is, and I know I hate it because I've advocated as like vote libertarian, but at the same token, it's just like, there's just too much at stake right now. And I hate saying that we have to trust the Republicans, but you've got to.
Yeah.
You've got to. There's just no other way. Because if I vote Libertarian, but normally I'd vote Republican, that's just a vote thrown away.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Libertarians are bad. I wish I could, but I mean, I'll put it this way. The Libertarian Party is never going to be taken seriously until you start getting rid of candidates like Joe Jorgensen, who's for open borders. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, this is what you're putting up there? Like, no, come on. This is a Democrat light.
Thank you. I've been saying that to so many people, like a lot of my friends who are like, hardcore libertarian. I'm like, you guys just put up crappy candidates.
That, and you gatekeep so hard.
Yeah.
To where if they don't see it exactly like you, well, you're not a real libertarian. It's like, well, then I'm not going to vote for your party and you're going to keep losing. I think the last serious libertarian we had was Ross Perot.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was Ross Perot.
I mean, yeah.
You got Paul and Rand.
Ron Paul didn't run as a libertarian, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows how to play the game. Right. You have to. I mean, you have to. There's no other way. But anyway, brother, I appreciate you being here. Where can everybody find you to look you up?
Yeah, definitely. ThePewPewJew.com.
Spelled exactly like it sounds.
Yeah,
ThePewPewJew.com. And on social media.
At the Pew Pew Jew all over.
I keep getting banned that I have to find other people. I forget somebody tagged me and then I saw your comments. Oh, fuck, it's you. Click follow. I was like, I forget because
I know it's funny. Like every now and then I'll just see you follow me again. I'm like, oh wait, John's got a new account. Got to go follow him back.
I think I've got to be the most banned person on. So I'm like a cocker. I'm like herpes. I just keep coming back.
Yeah.
You're not getting rid of me. I'm here. And that's why I like growing the podcast because at least I will have this audience. And they can't touch it.
They can't touch it.
They can't. And I should have done this from the get-go. But now that we see this, it's like, yeah, you can't touch this. You cannot stifle my voice. You can stifle it on Twitter. You can stifle it on Instagram. But we get way more viewership over here. Like right now, we're hitting an average of anywhere from like 150 to 200,000 downloads a month. It's like, okay, we're growing.
That's awesome.
We're growing. So it's just a matter of keep pushing the content out there, keep having interesting guests on. And again, I appreciate you coming on tonight, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know
Thank
you came straight from work, right?
I mean, straight from home, which is work.
Okay. Yeah. The kids and everything.
Friggin' baby. Yeah. Little fatso.
Well, brother, Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
As always, you can find him at the Pew Pew Jew. Don't go over there and be an asshole. There's a lot of people sometimes. Well, I hate the Jewish people. Don't be like that. He's a good dude. Good dude. He's a good Jew. He's one of us. He's one like this Goyim advocates for this Jew. We're good. Nah, love you, brother. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We will see you right back here in about 27 minutes for live coverage of the midterms coming up to see what happens with Congress and does Biden get put into a stalemate with a Republican-leaning Congress. We'll find out here soon. Coming back right here at the All